Well, hello, fellow traveler. Fancy meeting you under this waxing blood moon. We're here to dive into a very special series where we're looking at a long-standing transit of Neptune in Aries. Of course, currently we also have Saturn in Aries and is going to be hanging out there until April 12th, 2028. But the main focus of this particular download is around Neptune in Aries, and that's because, first of all, Neptune is Pisces ruler, and it is Pisces season, so we're going to open up with the mutable signs first, but there's a lot of action going down in the mutable signs right now, and it's a perfect time to bring this energy in as we're having a blood moon in the mutable sign of Virgo, who's also presiding down there in the south node. And we got Mercury retrograde in Pisces, Mercury being both Virgo and Gemini's rulers, the other two mutable signs there. And Pisces is also hanging out at the north node, so it's very mutable territory right now, and the wild card element is Sagittarius. Sagittarius, who also shares Jupiter as a ruling planet with Pisces. So I thought, let's go ahead and dive into this. We're going to open up first with a read for the collective, because it really is a collective transit that we're moving through here. We're all moving through this area of focus in our lives, and it looks a little bit different in terms of elemental expression, which is why we are bringing the signs together according to what cross they're on, okay? And so currently the action in play is going down on the mutable cross, and that's why we're bringing this in. So 2039, that's quite a ways down the road. This is a time that's really about us embracing a pioneering spirit of exploration. It's also a time of spiritual breakthrough. And it's helpful. It's helpful as we enter this energy, especially with that dynamic of Neptune and Saturn in the Aries point, that 0 point, the starting point of the Fool. This really is a very powerful portal, you could say, an initiatory gateway we're all collectively moving through. And the best way we can move through it at this time is to embrace the spirit of the mutable signs. So in general, when in balance, the mutable signs don't really have a problem with change. They're able to flow with it, perhaps more gracefully than some of the other zodiac elemental expressions. In general, they understand that everything changes, and so why fight the inevitable? And they do tend to flow fairly well. They tend to do fairly well with change. A lot of that has to do with the way they are able to hold a philosophical view on the endings that they are moving through in their lives. And they're able to kind of pan out and have a different kind of perspective about what could be possible in what's coming to a close. They are the transformers, the mutable signs. They do know how to, in general, go with that flow, and they can figure out how to take polar opposites and blend them seamlessly. They are able to do this with their adaptability and their way of being able to just sort of play things off the cuff. They're great improvisers. I mean, we think of Gemini, and Gemini in the tarot comes through as both the magician and the lovers. See, there's still a little bit of that dualism there. It's not that a mutable sign never gets stuck. And it's interesting. It's interesting as that comes through, I have to say, because the message I got when I dove into the Mutable Energy Alchemy was, there is no battle. There is no battle. And yet it's a little bit of irony, because our current president in the United States is a Gemini. And I think we're kind of in a battle right now. We have, a mutable sign really leading that charge for battle. So I find this really kind of an interesting message to unpack, and we're going to dive into it, all right? We're going to open up with a general collective read. So we're all empowered by this knowledge, and we learn how to embrace these wild changes that are coming our way that are going to require us to make some decisions. And the decision is about, what do we give life to? What do we give life to? Because remember, Neptune and Aries gives us the ability to bring a dream out of that field of potentiality and watch it materialize in front of our very eyes. But there's a key with that, see, and that's why Saturn's hanging out there. There's some discipline that's required. There's some focus that's required. There's work to be done. And there needs to be nurturing of the vision, which means the heart has to be on board. And this may be why there's a bit of a battle. It's recognizing you do hold power, you do have fire that you can use. In fact, you have all aces at your disposal. Clearly, the path of the Fool is opening up here. That means the hero's journey begins again, and yet you're spilling out. You're spilling out all that you have on what was spoiled, is how it's coming through. What was spoiled? There's something that's been spoiled that's still being nurtured, and it's preventing the fruition of a dream. Saturn does require that we look at certain earthly limitations. They're largely illusions. They're things that as a society we've all agreed upon just to create some sense of order out of the chaos, like the concept of time. But Father Time will definitely let you know that, you know, time's ticking here. You only have like a finite window to make this dream a reality. And so Saturn shows up on the scene to point out the work that needs to be done. What are the practicalities that need to be set in motion? Sometimes that is the one detail that gets slipped by with the mutable signs. They're really wonderful with going with the flow and being in that state of perpetually becoming. But when it comes time to like make a real firm commitment or make up your mind or come down from the ether to bring it into the marketplace, or to maybe let go a little bit, not try to direct the flow so much. We're bringing in the Virgoan energy there, okay? And that's what's in the South Node, and that is the energy of this moon. So this lunar cycle, this is what we're really dealing with. Okay, it's the places inside where there is a battle raging, where we're of two minds, where we don't really know what we want to do, or we don't know how to do what we want to do. It can also be coming through very much as wanting to just detach, not wanting to look at it, not wanting to get into the thick of it, wanting to slip around it, wanting to practice escapism on many different levels. Some do that by spiritually whitewashing matters, and others do it by completely deluding themselves and putting on rose-colored glasses and not having a willingness to really look at things as they are, even if they are difficult to face. And then there's others who, you know, just kind of thumb their nose at fate and have more of a somewhat nihilistic perspective, when what's really needed is optimism. Because how are you going to navigate the territory ahead if all you're looking at is the battle? It will make you battle weary. So there's a lot to kind of like sort through here. And there's something here that's thrown off the quality of mutability. Clearly, we see that. So we're trying to figure out, how can we transform with more ease? How can we really flow with these changes even when they're disruptive? How can we embrace more of a philosophical view about what is unraveling here so we can spiral something new into creation? How are we making our transformation more difficult than it needs to be? Well, this is the first step, is recognizing where you're spilling out your nurturing and your energy that doesn't really support what is asking to become in your life right now. The water's a little depleted. Pisces is a little depleted. A little out in more of the ether. I'm kind of picking up that energy. A little more out in the ether, wanting to perhaps disconnect, disassociate, head more into that territory because feeling that they don't have anything left to give. I don't have enough spoons. It's got that kind of energy. I don't have enough spoons. I don't have the bandwidth. So I'm just going to wander off into the alfalfa a bit while the world sorts it out. I'm tired of wearing that role, the one who sorts everything out. So there's something here that feels like it's very unsettled in foundational matters. Perhaps in family matters, perhaps in the home, perhaps even in one's own sense of stability. I think there's a lot of roots that are connected to this. There's very young parts of the self that are talking pretty loud right now. There's things we're looking at in terms of the future and what's in store, and it's creating a sense of uneasiness. These changes aren't so easy to embrace, especially for those who do have children and are worried about the world and what is going to be left to those that they brought into this world. And I think there's also a lot of people that are in that place of conscious awareness that are looking at this too. How can we dream a better dream for those who will come after us? And what is the legacy? We're at a pretty pivotal crossroads here. It is an important juncture. What is the legacy that we're going to leave behind? It's all hanging in the balance right now. So I can see why there can be more focus on the problem, less focus on the solution. And yet, in order to find our way through these difficult times that we're all moving through, certainly in the world as a whole, but we're absolutely feeling it in our own spheres, there has to be a way that we can send these troubles down the way to be transformed so our focus can shift more to a state of presence where we can find some solutions, some balancing points, some connecting points in some cases. So there is some kind of battle going on here. Some of you may be battling with your family. You may be battling with your sense of security. You may be battling with situation on the home front, feeling like there's just not a real stable foundation. Also feeling very much at odds with the future. Not sure where the future is even to be found. It's a little unsettling. We got Queen of Pentacles energy coming in here. So Virgo, really focused on this, focused on where do I place the investment? Where do I invest my energy to bring about the balance that I seek? Because something doesn't feel quite right here. And I'm tired of being in this intermediary space, neither here nor there. And I think there's a lot that you've processed emotionally. There's also a lot you've been doing to just get yourself grounded, stabilized in some way, and yet it's still in flux. And there may be another very important person that's on the other side of this bargaining table while you're trying to figure out how to balance something out. And you too couldn't be more different. And at the same time, water nurtures the earth and makes things grow. So there is a way to achieve a certain reciprocal flow here, and I feel this is what you're working on. It is coming down to timing, the right timing to open up to this new growth, this new possibility. Perhaps there's a need to clear out the energy of old battles, old fights, old disagreements. Perhaps there is the need to really come into the moment where the solutions can be found. There is hope up ahead. I see that. The light is building. It's already there. The dawn is already starting to surface. There's just something you're trying to balance out here, I feel, with another. And it might involve taking a particular action. There's something you're considering here. But I do see the road opening with the Fool. There's optimism that returns here. And there may be some who caution. But I think when you have this energy of temperance on the scene, this really is a case of it all comes down to timing. And when is the right time? The right time is when you know it. You feel it in your bones. You will know when it's time. The sign that it's time to open this road and head in this direction, which may involve you heading into territory you've never traveled in before. There's something about this that does bring reinvigoration to your life. It brings optimism into your world. This is something that does lift the spirits and invokes a little enthusiasm in your life again. And at the same time, there may be some things to be aware of as well. This is not about being foolish, but embracing the spirit of the unknown. And yes, anything can happen, but it is important too to bring that fire of wisdom to light the lamp of the hermit as you head out on the road in search of new adventures, lest you do find yourself in a tricky situation and you do have to improv on the spot, okay? But don't be overly cautious. It's tempering. It's a balancing act. I would say don't get embattled with people who do not understand the call of the wild that you are answering. You do not need to answer to anybody. What's important is that you answer to your own soul's directive at this time, because where you're heading toward the sun. A journey is opening up for you, righto. Things are going to change in your life over this next year. This turning of the wheel is going to bring many things to fruition for you. Many seeds that you have planted are going to start to grow and come to bloom. And there's going to be this sense of finally being free of something that has cloaked your energy for far too long. A heavy, shadowy energy that's followed you around for too long. Some of you may feel that you've been a bit plagued by the shadow people, and now the shadow people are being sent back into the realm of darkness. Even the darkness goes through its own release and transmutation, so it can be cleansed away of the heaviness and instead become fertile ground for new light to be born. But this is a very young, exuberant part of you that's awakening. This is finally feeling like I'm coming back to life, like I feel like myself again. My essence is coming back. This is very beautiful, positive energy coming in here. Sagittarian energy coming in quite strongly. We also have the energy of Aries, Aquarius here, and Leo, all right? So a lot developing here. Let's get some more details about this. What else? What else do we need to know? This is energy that's here for the long haul, but we know that the way something begins is quite significant in relation to how it culminates. So there's something about that right now. Really balance things out before you decide what you're going to pour your energy into and nurture right now, because whatever seed you plant here, that seed will grow. That seed will spread. That seed will be here for the long haul. Make sure it roots the legacy that you want to see in your world. And there's some cards that fell away here. And I think this is what the battle is about. Because there is this Six of Wands that landed on the floor here. And it is covered by a crossing energy. So I think this is going to give us a clue about what needs to be cast away to achieve a true sense of rising victorious here. The hoarding, the holding on to something too tightly with the Four of Pentacles. See, this is the quality. This is the quality that is at odds with the normal mutable expression. This is what needs to be looked at here. And we have to remember with Neptune in Aries, it's also being joined there by Saturn, right? And Saturn did its own time hanging out in Pisces, okay? So this is that flow that's all about breaking down the boxes, relinquishing control, being able to kind of open up in the moment and be in that flow of adaptability rather than having so much of a set rooted plan here. So I think there's something here that has been a battle because there's been a determination of wanting to achieve a certain objective, but seeing in one way, shape, or form that this needs to be sacrificed so that the path can be honored and that it leads to the victory that actually brings about a state of temperance, balance, harmony, roots something for longevity that's a strong foundation that doesn't just serve one, but others as well. One's family, one's community, one's legacy, what they want to leave behind, the imprint they leave on the world, and the imprint that you're leaving on these next how many years? Is it 13 years? Yes, next 13 years that are going to roll out. Oh, isn't that interesting? Yes, times of endings on the threshold of new beginnings are times of great power. It's a powerful position to be in, to decide what you're going to invest your power in. There's something you're getting an opportunity to root now. But there's also something you've been battling for. And there's a battle, something you've been holding on to too tightly, or you've wanted it to come to fruition in a particular way. There's something that needs to go through a state of transformation. There's something here where you have to adapt. You have to shift your position. You need to improvise more. You can't have it all planned out. You also can't necessarily have control of what others are choosing to do here, where their dreams may seem at odds with yours. And yet you may not realize them being at odds with your dreams may be the very thing that is actually needed for your dream to come to fruition. You don't understand what that kind of opposition may be trying to awaken in you, or what it may be calling you to look at, so you have a different perspective of your situation that will have you taking an entirely different action than you originally anticipated. And that shifts things greatly. And once again, there's a need, I think, to get away from over-processing something, trying to think of every move, trying to plot it all out. Something has become too intellectualized when what is needed is the water, clearly, because there was that sense of depletion with the King of Cups in reverse. Oh my. Come on in, Ted. Well, if that ever was not a clear demonstration of the opposite of mutable energy, that was very demanding, very forceful way for Ted to come in here. So you see what I mean? Something needs to be shifted here in perspective, in plans, in action, in word, in deed. Something needs a new approach. There is no battle. There is no battle. One more round of this, and then I'm going to pull out another deck here. Anything else to get clarity around this? We got the King of Pentacles here. So now we have masculine, feminine in a state of flux. Something is transforming. Transforming once a certain riddle is resolved, which requires looking into an area you haven't been wanting to look into. There's something that you've been avoiding that you know you need to face. It requires transforming a really tricky situation, maybe even dealing with a tricky character here. And there's some kind of knowledge to be gained from the exchange, from the experience. This is Sagittarian energy, but it's also coming in with the fixed signs, Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Leo. Something has been fixed. Something's been in too embattled of a state for far too long. There's records of it. There's records of it on the ethers. How many lifetimes are you going to go through this same karmic spin cycle? Something has gone on far too long. Something needs to be transformed, and yet there's still the plotting. There's still the planning. There's still the keeping the eye on the situation and trying to anticipate moves. And there's something about this that needs to be seen, because it's the very thing that's preventing the wheel of fortune from turning. It's the very thing that is blocking divine timing. And once this is resolved, then you can finally set this opportunity you're going to be given in motion. There's some opportunity coming in, but the opportunity can be spoiled if the current strategizing is still in play. You see? But once you truly transform, alchemize, purify, balance out what has caused you to be in a divided place, in an embattled place, in two minds about something, wanting to detach rather than really putting yourself in the center of it, feeling more kind of closed off, feeling like there's no point in anything, feeling nihilistic, or just hyper controlling, just trying to control every detail, trying to have all the answers when there's no way to have all the answers at this time. The whole world is shifting. There's not one person on the face of the earth that knows how things are going to turn out at this point. And so this is something that really needs to be embraced, because once this is embraced, then you're at the transformation point. You do have the power to bring about a resurgence in your life. It's coming through like that. It's coming through as a resurgence, almost like there's something that's buried here and it needs to resurface. So it can provide like a resurgence in your life. It's like an uprising in your life. There's a lot of new beginnings coming your way, but the first beginning coming your way is something that has you holding the power of fire. And fire in and of itself invokes the will. It gives determination. And it also gives that spark of creativity. It can ignite our passion. It gives us a sense of purpose. And there's something here you're coming into alignment with that's finally making you feel like, I can rise to that challenge. But rising to a challenge or answering a call doesn't imply that it has to be a battle. This is more about you really entering the zone. That's what I feel. entering the zone so the battle falls away, because the battle is often a sign of division. It's when we're not in the flow. It's how we tell the difference. When we're too focused on what's going on over there, or when we can't make our minds up about something because we're weighing too many different perspectives or opinions, or we're researching something to death instead of just putting ourselves in the thick of it and learning about it experientially. You know, anytime we're feeling too mired, we're definitely not in the flow state. We're definitely not in the zone. And I think that's what's really coming through here. Something's become too fixed. Something's become too fixed. The fire has been too contained. The earth has been too sloggy. It's like been too much like quicksand. No matter how much you try to gain momentum, you just feel like you're sinking further. The water has been too turbulent, too cloudy. The water has also in some cases dried up and has moved more into the air ether quality. And the air, well, the air has just been unpredictable, changeable, indecisive. But this is something coming your way. It's an opportunity. And the power is going to be put in your hands. And it's up to you how you use it. And there is some hint that there's something that doesn't really require you fighting for it. Just accepting. Just accepting that you're already on the path that leads to what is yours. That's how it's coming through. Oh, see? And that's where there's the problem. King of Cups comes out in reverse again. There's this very like fixated focus on, no, it has to be this. It has to be this. This could even be somebody trying to call something specific in. It has to be this. It has to look like this. And that's actually what needs to be balanced out here. That's what needs to be balanced out here. There's a perspective shift that's needed here. Let me do a cut of the deck. This is what binds. This is what has one feeling like they don't hold the power that they do. It's like being so attached to a particular dream, vision, goal, desire, that it keeps one perpetually in the chrysalis state, not able to emerge from the cocoon. And really, the only shift that's needed is a shift in perspective. And once that's embraced, well, then you have balance. Then you have justice. Then you find the way through. You find yourself seated in the center of the light with the shadows falling behind you. This is what's coming in. Libra energy here. And we did just move through that ring of fire in Aquarius, and that energy is directly connected to the ring of fire in Libra that went down on October 2nd, 2024. So something is coming to fruition here. Something that maybe should have been nurtured but wasn't. It's depleted. It's depleted. The focus has been in the wrong things. The focus has been in being more the observer, being more the outsider instead of getting into the thick of it. The focus has been more on strategizing, plotting, and planning rather than being within the flow of the intuition, the emotional awareness and intelligence, the ability to read the energy to determine what's needed. You can't read the energy when the heart space is blocked. And when the crown is blocked because it's set on a particular objective, it doesn't allow the Awen, the force of inspiration to come in to align you with your path of purpose. So something definitely needs to be adjusted here. Let me have a look here and see what needs to be adjusted here. Let's pull out the angels and imps on this. What needs to be adjusted here for us to really work with the alchemy of this mutable energy that's in play? What does the collective need to adjust here in order to bring us into a state of temperance, a state of empowerment, into that flow state, into the zone where we can really wield our power wisely to affect transformation? Transformation that roots legacy energies, something built to last, something of value, something that endures, something not based on control, something that doesn't keep us in embattled places, but helps us move spontaneously with the inspiration of our life. What do we need to do to enter that state? Bottom of the deck, Two of Wands. Well, this is about coming more from a place of wisdom, acting from a place of love, by getting back into the heart space, connecting with that space, rather than thinking more in terms of having some kind of conquest or making some kind of visible victory evident to those who may be keeping an eye on you. You know, it's got more of that kind of vibe of putting on a show or wanting to achieve some kind of worldly status or recognition, when there's a much greater victory to be had here in reclaiming something very dear to your heart. And there may be opposition that you're facing in relation to what really speaks to your heart, what you want to do, something you want to set in motion. It's coming in with 37:11 on the clock. So yes, there is something you want to transform. Wheel of Fortune energy. There is an action you want to take to open your road to enter the adventure of the Fool, like that magician raising the wand. But there are those who caution you about this. There are those who have opposition. You may even feel attacked by some. They don't get you. They don't understand what you want to do here. And yet there's a need for you to really respect where you're being called to go, because we have the Empress energy coming in here. And the Empress has what she needs to nurture herself for the journey ahead, for the long road home. She has what she needs. She knows where the treasures are hidden. And you may be able to see those treasures and others may not. Others may not. So they don't understand. They don't understand your devotion. They don't understand your heart fire because they don't see what you see. But that's because it's your vision. Coming in with Libra and Taurus energy. And this is a matter of love, but not love in the typical sense that you would think of it. It's recovering the love that's always been there. The love that's been with you all along and never went anywhere. And what inspires that love within you? What awakens that love within you? What stirs that love within you and causes you to be motivated from that place of love? And this is something, some opportunity coming in here to reconnect you with that place that somehow you lost touch with. This is a very special experience coming in. It's going to tell you a lot of secrets of the past, a lot of prophecies of the future. And it's going to show you where the treasures are, right here, right now. Things that have been right under your nose, things you don't even recognize as treasures, are going to be revealed to you with whatever this opportunity is. It's pretty potent. Okay, anything else you want to bring in to clarify around this for the collective? Well, that landed right on top of the selenite. So you might want to work with selenite. Selenite is wonderful for Clearing energy, clearing the slate might be very helpful with this moon energy we're moving through here. Also, you might want to call on Gabriel. Gabriel brings a lot of help in communication, especially where there's been embattled situations where you feel at odds with another. This is coming in with the energy of Pisces. There's some kind of revelation that's going to be coming in with this lunar cycle that we're going to be moving into that will lead up to the new moon in Pisces. We will go through that shadowy territory. Certainly, we're going to have a total eclipse, so it's going to be like all lights out. And then we're going to continue to travel in that darkness until the new moon in Pisces comes in. So this is a time where the revelations sort of sprout in our consciousness through this time of darkness. It's almost like we're being asked to get really comfortable with not knowing, really comfortable with the mystery, that there's revelations there to be found if we can kind of open up our minds. And that's the thing about darkness. I mean, anything can be there. And sometimes we project our fears onto the darkness, and so we find things that go bump in the night. But there's also other things that can be found in the darkness that are beautiful, that inspire the hope, like the stars in the sky, like the moon that hangs brightly, like the seed that germinates that will grow into a beautiful rose bush, like the baby that gestates in the womb space. So there's beautiful things to be found within the dark. There are messages that are going to be revealed to you. You may be coming across some very tangible information that you've needed for a long time. This could come through something you find. I don't know why I got this, but something you find in a file or something tucked away in a book, like something you just sort of earmarked in a book, or something you slid into a book, you forgot about it, some kind of message that you're just coming across now. It's something that when you see it, you realize that's the answer, or that's the solution, or that's the thing I've been looking for all along. It could also come through somebody reaching out to you, revealing something to you that you need to know. It's critical for the next step on the road ahead. There's also something about this truth and the power of confidence when somebody confides in you. There's something about really honoring that agreement when somebody asks you to keep something confidential. There may have been somebody that you shared something of depth and meaning with that did not hold what you shared confidential. There could be a case where you may have slipped with this. Maybe you didn't mean to. You shared something that was intimate that shouldn't have been shared with others. There may be something coming back in relation to that that needs to be cleared out, that needs to be resolved. There's something about that that has a decaying influence. This could be something that's been going on around you, or it could be something you haven't wanted to look at. Something perhaps maybe that you did in a time of weakness. It can be playing out on many different stratums of being, but this is a theme. Whatever this is, it has a decaying effect. It has the power to destroy more than just a connection. And there's something of depth there that needs to be uncovered, understood, integrated. This energy coming through. Let's see what this is, because it landed right on the selenite here. Wow, it's the Four of Pentacles again. Four of Pentacles again. This is just holding on so tightly to what one desires, some kind of worldly acquisition, something that's needed to secure one's position. It's got that kind of energy around it. It could even have a little bit of questionable energy around it as well. It could be something that you're tempted to swipe for your own. It could be something that has a covetous energy around it, or you could be dealing with somebody who covets something that currently is aligned with you. This could even be coming from a quarter of somebody that you are very close to. Maybe somebody you wouldn't suspect. Somebody you normally consider an excellent familiar. Somebody may even be trying to goad you on. This can be an energy as well, something that can block the road when you kind of go along with the crowd. Like maybe the crowd thinks, oh, well, you should do this, but something about that goes against your ethics. It goes against what you know to be right, what you know to be just, what you know to be true. And yet you want to have the acquisition of whatever this promises, or you want to have the recognition of the group. You want to hold the position you currently hold, and you may feel that going against the grain and bucking the tradition of going along with what the gang wants to do could cost you in some way. There's something about this that you do need to be mindful of. It's like a bit of an initiatory test. Opening up the road depends on it. The light you need for your lantern to guide you in wisdom from the south node to the north node depends on it. Also, your true victory hinges on it. Somebody may know that this is something they need to deal with, and they're trying to tiptoe away, tiptoe into the tulips. They're trying to escape prying eyes who are trying to see into what they're up to. Like somebody may be trying to get away with something here, and it could be hanging heavily over their consciousness. And again, it has something to do with being in an embattled state, fighting for something, competing for something, trying to control something, hold on to something. This is what needs to shift. In the mutable energy, there is no battle. So where you are experiencing this kind of gridlock, remember to embrace change, even if it comes as a great disruptor in your life. Take a broader view. Don't look at it as something that's working against you, but maybe the very thing that's working for you to get you rerouted on a path that's much more in alignment with your purpose. And if you give it the opportunity to reveal that to you, you will see that as you find your way through and as things just start to enter that flow state in your life. Embrace transformation. Don't resist it. The more you fight it, the harder it's going to be, the more messy it's going to get, the more complicated, the more trapped you're going to feel. Just enter that state of effortless flow. Almost envision yourself just going over the waterfall, you know, and landing in a clear pool that refreshes you, awakens you, and reinvigorates you, cleanses you of all the old energy, and lets you move forward with greater ease. Yeah, you may have to adapt your current plans. You may have to go off the cuff. You may have to improvise, but you're going to find the road a lot more fulfilling than if you continue to go this way. To go this way will only bring disillusionment. Okay, anything else here? Anything else here? Six of Swords. That's what's crossing this energy. Six of Swords to the Ten of Cups, you see. The two can't exist with each other. Until this is released, until this way of moving forward is released, this need to barge in, this need to grab a hold and control, this need to achieve this and only this, to not be able to go with the flow of the energy as it's choosing to express itself through your life and your actions, your thoughts, your words, your deeds. Until this way is released, there can be no fulfillment of the Ten of Cups. It's at odds together, the energy of the Ten and the Six of Swords. It brings a tower. It brings a moment of awakening. what's going to protect you against any kind of marauders coming onto your path, blocking the way between you and your treasure, is the fixation on what that treasure is, what you think that treasure is, and holding on to it so tightly that you're not allowing yourself to really see how you might be, I'm hearing, grossly limiting yourself. Once you're able to enter into the true perception of unity, which is entering unity consciousness, it goes beyond just you and your thoughts. Once you embrace more of that expansive consciousness, where you kind of just get plugged into that great big circuit board and you say, okay, show me the way. Show me where my treasure lies. Show me my path of purpose. Show me the way. Show me the way to the garden that is filled with my delights. When you allow yourself that openness to be shown the way, you become more actively engaged with your life. And you find that what you're meant to come into alignment with, there's no battle around it. There's no struggle with it. There's nothing like that. It just comes in so effortlessly. So effortlessly. This will protect against accidents. And it'll bring healing where you currently feel soul sickness. 10 of Cups. Yes, you've faced many battles. You certainly have. You've faced many battles. In some battles, you were able to banish with your laughter and your jovial nature and your reckless abandon and devil-may-care optimism, and it was fun for a while until the party was over. And then you may have tried to fight fire with fire, what you perceive to be fire with fire. You felt sorrow, you felt loss, you felt missing the mark, not getting what was desired. And so that may have caused you to feed into the sense of sorrow more. Sorrow, fixated on what was lost and how it can be regained, can lead to a state of stagnancy. It can make things rather murky. It can make it difficult to actually release what is a limitation so you can come into alignment with what moves you into your joy. But the way that we overcome all that separates us from our true state of fulfillment, sometimes it's just to let it rest. Let it rest. And when we let it rest, that's when we find the victory and peace that has been with us all along. We're able to cultivate it in our lives. We're able to recognize it as it comes into our field of awareness. When we're out and about day to day, out in the marketplace, living our lives. That's how we bring about this beautiful state of union of the lovers. This is joy. This is pleasure. And this is happiness. Happiness to two who are meant to find a way through. You see, there's a beautiful opportunity to clear out the negative energy that's been keeping this state of being in battle, being at odds, and bring about this state of union. And it's really as simple as just letting go. That's the work. And if ever there was any way that you needed to use some kind of force to transform your current situation, it's not through imposing on any other. It's simply using the force of your consciousness, your mental force, to focus on finding the path that leads you to your delights. To notice when you find that resonance instead of having to make it fit within a certain picture frame. This is what will avert sorrows. This is what will heal what is currently ailing. Let's do a cut of the deck. Hangman. Time to shed a skin. Time to get a different view. Time to transform. You can't bargain with death when death shows up on the scene. There's no way to say, no, it's not my time. It's not my time to let go. And when we try to cheat death, sometimes it quickens the release, and maybe in more dramatic ways than we desire, of what needs to be shed. So this is really honoring the flow of the cycle. At this time, it's unavoidable. But it's interesting to me because once the apprehension to have this release is directly confronted, automatically there's freedom in the mind. There's a release from so much pent-up tension. And then there's all this birth of joy and pleasure and union and beauty. The Lovers to the Ten of Cups. I mean, that's something truly to celebrate. Coming in very strongly for Gemini energy. Needing to transform, needing to shed the skin, needing to allow the scales to fall from the eyes to see things as they are, not fighting this, not trying to trade places with another, but just really honoring this is what my path is asking me to do at this time. It's asking me to let go. It's asking me to transform. And that is the way through. Judgment. This is what brings the balance. This is a time of atonement for errors. It's a time of making amends. It's a time of laying battles to rest. It's a time of balance. And where you do have individuals who will not let it rest, something is being done to finally bring a long-standing, frustrating cycle to a close. So when we're looking at judgment, you want to make sure you're on the right side of that. It is a time of judgment. Let it go, let it flow. That is the way through, okay? I'm going to go ahead and get a focus card for the collective here. Working with this mutable energy, with this herbal astrology oracle. I'm just going to get one card here to sort of cap it off so we know how to focus our energy and our awareness, what we should be nurturing, what we should be cultivating as we enter into this blood moon and the shadow phase that we'll be navigating as we're traveling through darkness. So we're wise about what we germinate there. What are we meant to germinate in this darkness in the lead up to the Pisces new moon? Bottom of the deck. Wealth, true wealth. Wealth based on a wealth of experience, a wealth of possibility. There's also some kind of communication coming in here with Mercury that does bring some kind of blessing where you feel like your cup runneth over. It's a really beautiful energy here. So there is something in letting go. It's like as soon as there's this release, this letting go, putting down a battle, letting go of a resentment, dropping an argument, finding acceptance, this is where the wealth is to be found. Then it's like your dawn can peek through, coming in with the energy of the sun. And something lights up your life that it makes you feel truly rich. Where you have been worried about security, worried about finances, things of a more material nature, there's some kind of indication that you will be provided for. This is what opens up an endless supply. You know, we may be struggling with something emotionally, or we may be processing something mentally, but the more we're in like that struggle space, and we're grappling with something, or we're embattled with something, at odds with it, it doesn't allow us to be receptive. And so we can kind of block ourselves. We can block ourselves from receiving opportunities, from receiving financial flow, from receiving good reciprocation in our connections, you know. So this is a piece to really be aware of. It's very foundational here. There's some communication coming in. There's some kind of message you're getting here. There's some kind of opportunity coming in that can really help you enter this flow state. It's going to bring a lot of wealth into your life, but it does require that you let go. Look at this. See, there's something you're having to prune here. You have to let go of some bad blood with this full moon. Coming in with the energy of the rose, you're releasing old karmic cycles, old destructive cycles in relation to your love story, whatever the story of love is that you've been telling yourself for too long. There's something that wants to get rooted in this space that's going to grow into the sweetness of the bloom. There's words here. There's a message coming in. There's signs, there's synchronicities that are going to pierce your heart. And they're going to bring to the surface the tenderness that's been there. And the tenderness is a space that should be cultivated. It's so important for you to cultivate this space of tenderness and realize what a gift it is to be able to feel that vulnerability, that softness in a world that has grown so rigid and hard and blocked and intractable. And then people wonder why there's never enough, why they don't seem to receive what they desire. It's because the current state of society isn't even in a state of receptivity where those blessings can really flow in. So once you release something here that's been very polarized, something that's been a bit of bad blood, once you let something go, you let this old love story go, that's when the peace comes in, where you were washed out to sea. You see signs of the shore up ahead. There's something beautiful blooming here. So you might want to work with rose. Rose is also anti-inflammatory. So where things get a little too heated, argumentative, embattled, you can kind of cool things down. I don't know. Maybe you'll buy yourself some roses, or maybe you'll send a bouquet to somebody else and just kind of cool things down. Maybe there's something here that's about to unfurl in the most unexpected way that helps you forget all about those rough times where you were so busy grasping the thorns, because the sweetness of the bloom is going to be just what's needed to help the medicine go down. Yeah. Something's being karmically closed out in your love story here, and it's bringing about the rebirth of Venus. It's coming in with that energy of the Empress. So really beautiful. Got Pisces energy here, Taurus energy, Libra energy, strong Venusian energy, and this love, this beauty that wants to get rooted in your life. It doesn't just have to come, you know, through a relationship, through the other. It can be all about you. It can be falling in love with your life again. You know, there's something really beautiful coming through here, a treasure that's going to make you feel like opening up to life again. And it comes in with that new moon in Pisces. That's when the rebirth of Venus will definitely be bringing quite a different hue to our life. Very beautiful energy. Okay, let's see here. Well, with Venusian energy coming through, I feel really strongly for each of the individual mutable signs, because that was our collective read. I think I'm going to pull out these goddess guidance cards to see what you all should be focusing on, since you are opening this energy with Neptune and Aries, Saturn and Aries. How we begin, how we focus is so essential. You're kind of leading this energy here, so it's all about what you're transforming here and setting in motion. So let's just really make it nice and clear and direct and see, what do each of you need to focus on? Calling in the energy of Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius. And we're just going to cut the deck into the separate piles and look at the top card and the bottom card. Just get a little individual message for each of you on this blood moon or whenever you come to it. Okay. The first pile that I'm going to cut is going to be for Sagittarius. Okay. Next pile I'm going to cut is going to be for Virgo. Okay. And then Gemini, and the first pile here will be for Pisces. Okay. So Pisces at 106.47. So yes, you're about to step out of the crossroads. You're about to make a decision. You're about to raise that wand of the magician and take an action that is going to bring about some kind of renewal energy into your life. It's going to set your wheel of fortune in motion. Ooh. There's something you're closing out in the South Node. It could be something connected to the mother. It could be something connected to a child. It could be around something that you're about to give birth to, whether that is a child or whether that's some kind of inspired project, vision, something you feel really called to set in motion here. Whatever this is, it's essential that you clear this out. There's something that needs to be brought to completion here. It's a very significant past life cycle you're wrapping up here. So you have a lot that's coming forward in your memory bank right now that relates to previous incarnations. And if you're somebody that doesn't really buy into reincarnation, I would say these are parts of you that you no longer need to live out of. It's sort of different time periods in your life are coming into this coalescing point. So you can close an old cycle and really step into the truth of your full potential and activate your North Node. Some of you may feel very drawn to work with Isis. She's very much like a mothering, kind of gardening. I meant to say guardian, but gardening, interesting. Maybe you really tap into this part of yourself when you're gardening, when you're in your garden, this kind of nurturing quality. Maybe that's the way some of you can get really back in touch with that nurturing quality within yourself, to get your hands in the dirt, to maybe plant something and tend to it and grow it and have that be symbolic of what you're growing now, the dreams, the visions you're growing now. That might be something potent to work with for the full moon too. What dream, what vision are you hatching right now? What are you sowing for your future? Really consider it. Consider it. Maybe consider it from a quality of not having to put sort of a framework around it, what it looks like, but more just encapsulating it with just a single word that really holds the charge of what you want to cultivate, what you want to grow in your life, whether that's peace or abundance or joy or lightness, whatever it may be. And then plant that seed, tend to it. It might be something that comes through very strongly for you. Some of you may be very drawn to the goddess Isis. She may be calling for you to work with her. This is beautiful. I think this is around a special connection you have with somebody. So we have Isolde, undying love. There's somebody you love for free. And love is the ultimate outlaw. And there is somebody you love for free. You love them whether they love you or not. You love them because they helped you touch a part of yourself, access a part of yourself you didn't even know was there. They awakened you. They stirred something within you. And if you haven't experienced this yet, or if it's been a long time since you felt that, this could be the experience that's coming into view for you. Something that will awaken the undying love within you. For some of you, it may be coming through a child, your child. For others of you, it's coming through something that you're giving birth to, a dream, a vision, a passion project, something you feel called to do. And for others of you, it's a very significant someone who's crossed your path multiple times, multiple lives, maybe in the past, and they're circling back around, and there's something there. It's like you just pick up right where you left off, like no time has passed at all. And there may be some situations where you've had to let go. You have to let go of somebody, and yet, though the outer has transformed, the love, it's eternal. And I think where you're needing some kind of confirmation, where you've been wondering, it's coming through for you that the love you have shared is eternal, regardless of the situation. And I think that's meant to give you a little peace here with whatever you're navigating. Cut of the deck. Soon, though, I think you're going to have other things that you're focused on here with Yemanja. You have a golden opportunity that's coming your way to enter the flow state. This is something with the dolphins hanging out there that's going to give you just more spontaneity, more playfulness in your life, more of a carefree feeling. I also feel that when we look at Yemanja, she's also very much a mother energy. So there's something coming through very strongly for you about connecting with the mother and maybe doing some healing around the mother. Or like I said, you may be preparing to give birth. You might be working with breath work here with the dolphin medicine coming through. But something beautiful is happening here. There's purification with Yemanja, but there's also renewal energy. Something new is born in this space, and it looks like there's a golden opportunity coming your way. And there's very important doors opening up for you right now. You are meant to walk through them. So trust your intuition. And on the other side here, oh, no, it's right here. Vesta, home. There was Isis there. Isis got left behind. I looked. So right behind. Yeah, right behind Yemanja was Isis, okay? So, yeah, there's something here. It's like, I feel like it's a connecting point. It's either something that you always dreamed of doing in the past, or it's actually you reprising a role you've had in a past life. Or a connection. Could even be for those of you who are giving birth that you're being reunited with the soul. It's like spirit baby coming on through. We also got Vesta, home here, okay? So this is about really feeding the fire that brings the warmth of the hearth. And the priestesses of Vesta, the Vestal virgins, they kept the fires burning. They kept the fires burning. So there's a certain fire here you need to keep burning. And when I think of that fire, I think of the fire of Awen, the fire of inspiration. So there's some inspiration you have here. It is a golden opportunity. You do need to follow through with it. Also, in relation to your home, there's going to be a lot more warmth coming into your home. And your household situation is improving. And this could involve a move, or something's being readjusted at home. There's some kind of renovations going on at home, or maybe your needs are being considered at home. And so this is bringing a balancing out in the home environment. Whatever this is, it's a healthy change. It's a positive change, not just for you, but anyone that you share space with too. That's beautiful energy coming on through for you. Okay, coming in at 1:15:47, we have Gemini. Whew, Gemini, you are actually in a very powerful position right now. There's something that's awakening in you that is letting you access something maybe you haven't accessed before, or at least not to this degree. You're being given the power to heal something. We got medicine woman coming through here. There's new sensations you're going to be feeling. There's new activations coming through you. There's a lot involving the hands. You may be feeling heat in your hands. You may be able to pick up objects and be able to feel something about who's owned that object before. Like there's something about your hands have a lot of sensitivity. Your hands have the ability to impart healing, but they also receive a lot of information too. I got some kind of activation coming through your hands. This might come as a surprise for you, but I do feel like this is your flow state right now. Let this energy flow. There's something that's happening here where you're starting to get information coming through. It's giving you guidance. It's giving you insight. But it's also happening like very viscerally. Like there's something you feel physically. There may be times when this starts to come in for you where you almost feel like you're entering what I call the slows, where you almost feel like you're underwater, you know, everything kind of like feels like it's in that state of, you know, when you're underwater, there's that sense of, I don't know, it's kind of like being like buffered a little bit. And you're able to move through that water, but there's a lot of kind of like pressure, right? There's pressure kind of from all sides when you're underwater, sort of acting upon your physical form. I know that who this is for, you'll understand what I'm talking about. There's something here about feeling almost like things are slowing way down. Maybe you need extra rest and you're finding that you're going really deeply into the dream space. And at the same time, there's something physically happening in the body. I got the hands coming through really strongly, and that kind of sensation I was talking about. It's because you're opening up to a higher level of healing ability. You actually hold a lot of healing gifts. There may be something you're getting attuned to because you're about to have a very significant encounter on your path, and somebody you're supposed to heal with. You also may be experiencing a really deep foundational healing within your body right now, where you've been dealing with certain physical challenges. I have something coming in around like neuropathy, or some kind of something going on in the brain. It's like, it could even be with repeat loops that you've kind of traveled in your consciousness. Like it almost gives me the impression of releasing samskaras. Samskaras are considered like psychic wounds, karmic wounds from previous lives or previous experiences that have stayed sort of embedded in the consciousness. And I feel like something is dissolving here, and it's creating a breakthrough moment that's bringing a lot of healing in your life. This may be around your childhood. This may be awakened by a child, someone you're caring for here, someone you're protecting here. You may feel very strongly called to protect the children. You feel like this is something that you need to play an active role in. That might even be something that's awakening for you as more of a life purpose as well, with everything that's happening on a macrocosmic level in relation to the children that we've been hearing about. But there is something here that involves children. You might be calling a soul part back from your childhood, maybe from a place of trauma, and there's integration that's possible now. You have some gift that's awakening at this time, has something to do with children. You're actually very, very skilled at helping children. You don't talk down to children. You're able to really see the wisdom within children. You want them to feel empowered. You want them to feel safe, supported in your presence. I feel like you have a way of really connecting with children in a way that not only allows them to feel very supported in being who they are, but it creates some kind of beautiful state of healing for them. You're excellent. You're excellent with counseling children too. You're able to really give them a space where they can share what they're feeling. Yeah, you might feel really called to heal children, or there might be a child in particular that needs your help, support right now, and this is what you're really called to do. This could be a calling that's coming into your life that's shifting your life path. You may feel very strongly called to act as a guide for children, to help them in their healing process. Says use your skills to help children now. And it could even be the inner child within you that's finally ready to be healed and set free. Set free from a time that they weren't strong enough to take a stand. They were too young. But now as an adult, you can show up for that part of you. There's some kind of deep psychic healing, integrative work happening here. Let me get a cut of the deck. Ooh, no cut, okay? It seems like the healing work is where the focus is. This is where you have to put all of your attention right now. It's very important. The name Diana may be significant here. Right? It could be a Sagittarius connected to your situation. They're your descendant sign. Keep your unwavering thoughts, feelings, and actions focused on your target, and you will make your mark. So I do feel like there's something here that you feel like you need to heal, and you're being called to take an active role. And when we look at children too, it may even be for somebody that you view as unaware, maybe naive in a situation, somebody who is in a vulnerable position and you feel like you need to step in, that you know what's needed for healing. And I think where you feel charged with that, you should continue to focus on that, because it looks like it's bringing about some kind of spiritual activation on your path, and it's something you are truly called to do at this time. Powerful. Okay, 1/24/19. Also taking a strong action, making a decision that's going to bring some happiness here. Ooh. This is coming in for Virgo, Rhiannon. You are the sorceress. So right now you're very connected with this full moon. There's a certain magic you're putting into motion here. You're really connected with the elements. You know how to work with the elements. You are a magical person who can manifest your clear intentions into reality. So there is something, look, we got the unicorn here. So I think this is something of initiation into a magic that you may have lost, that you're recovering here. There's something you're pulling through this lunar cycle. You're reclaiming some kind of magic that was lost, maybe lost long ago. Maybe a magic you're not even aware of in this life, but it could be connected to your ancestors. You might have Gaelic ancestry, Welsh ancestry. There's something here. It's like a journey of discovery. I feel like you're about to feel a lot more tapped into source, and you're going to start to recognize that you are able to work this magic to call in your desires. There's also something about the song Rhiannon by Fleetwood Mac that may have a message for you. Let's see what we have on the top of the deck. Ooh, potent Kali. Oh, you hold the whole world in your hands. Something is unfurling here with the eclipse energy of this blood moon. You're right on the threshold. Something is simultaneously ending as something new is coming into being. Something is manifesting. But there is something you do need to release here. There is something you need to let go of. Sometimes people get scared to let go. Could it be something you've been trying to call in? Sorceress, that's kind of how it's coming through. There's something maybe you've been actively trying to call in. You've been praying for it, or maybe you've been doing some kind of alchemy work around it, done some workings around it, created a vision board for it or something. There's something you've been really focused on calling in here. I feel like you've been working your magic. Maybe you've been studying your spiritual roots. You've been learning about the empowerments of your bloodline and maybe diving into that a bit. You've been noticing that as you tap into that, wow, I am able to make things happen. I'm able to call things into being. But there's something here about a piece that needs to be learned, which is releasing the vision so that it can actually come to fruition. That's a key point in working your mojo, man, is you do have to let it go. You can't focus on it nonstop. And in fact, a lot of times your visions don't come to fruition until you completely drop it. So maybe allow the eclipse energy to serve you in this way. Really focus on your vision, right? What you're calling in here. And again, be non-specific. Think more of the quality you're calling in, what you're desiring to root in your life. Give it a name, but don't focus it on a particular outer presentation. Let it come through as it's meant to unfold for you, and trust that you'll be guided to the path and the experiences that will give you that true sweetness of the bloom, something that can rise it up out of the mud and the muck and maybe even give you something better than you could envision. This is why we do have to let go, because if you let the magic do its thing, then it can actually bring you something that you never even envisioned possible for you. We limit ourselves a lot based on our previous experiences and what we think is possible. So allow this to be released with the eclipse, okay? Once that eclipse energy comes in, let it go. Let it go to the void and just release it, because this is an in-between place, okay? you're at the point of ending something so something new can begin. There has to be a vacuum created, a void created for something new to take its place, for something to transform. So there's something that's being released here. So if you have been trying to call something in or hoping for something, go ahead and build it with the light of this full moon. But once it hits the eclipse time, be done with it. And move forward here, because the old must be released so the new can enter. Sorceress. You are very tapped in, but I feel like this is the piece that's missing. In order for what you desire to manifest, you really have to let go. Okay, cut of the deck here. Let's see what we got. So we have Kuan Yin coming through with compassion. Here's the lotus flower again. So see, something that you're really desiring here, that you're wanting to create for yourself, is going through a process of rising up out of some heavy stuff, you know? And maybe it's been really rough and you feel like you haven't seen anything kind of come to fruition, but that's because you haven't released the heavy stuff yet. The lotus has to rise up out of the mud and the muck before it can actually unfold and reveal its beauty. And it doesn't happen all at once. The petals unfurl in stages and phases. I think maybe you've been a little hard on yourself. You need to have more compassion towards yourself. You also may need to have more compassion toward others. Release judgments about yourself and others and focus on the love and the light that is to be found within everything and everyone. So yeah, try to be more gentle with yourself, especially if you feel like, well, this should come through already. Like, how come I haven't seen what I desire come through yet? On this side. Inner goddess, Aphrodite. Ooh, look at that. Strong Venusian energy. I think this is really about you pouring into yourself, letting go, releasing, not worrying about how others perceive you, how others perceive your choices, not getting into those embattled places, but where you can. Sometimes the most compassionate thing to do, if there isn't a resolution for an argument, a difficult situation that you're navigating, is simply to let it go. Just say, okay, you know, and send that person healing, you know, send that person peace. You can work with Tonglen a bit. Tonglen is a meditative practice where you focus on sending peace and healing to those that you may feel anything but peaceful and healed with, you know. And that's what makes it challenging. It's a very fierce practice, but it can be beneficial for clearing a lot of blockages. I also think that you're being a little bit hard on yourself. You know, it takes time. It takes time to step into what you're trying to call in here, okay? And it looks like what would be really good for you at this time is just pour into yourself. You're just starting to emerge into this rebirth of Venus energy. It's about embracing the inner goddess or the inner god for you men out there. This is time about stirring that exalted part of you, that creative part of you, and really nurturing that within through dance and self-care and anything that makes you feel like you're accessing that divinity, that thing that really makes you feel like you're connected to your soul. More of that. Pamper yourself a bit. Be kinder with yourself, more gentle with yourself. There is something that's unfurling here. But in order for you to see this magic root in your life, once you call it into being, you got to release it. You got to set it free. And then you'll see it come through. All right? Big stuff. Big stuff is happening when Kali shows up, okay? But I like you got this Venusian energy here, so the more you kind of focus on your inner world, you're going to see that your outer world is taking beautiful form, right? So just trust the process. But I see a lot of magic stirring within you. There's something you're reclaiming here. It feels like you're studying something here that's awakening empowerments in you. It feels like it's coming through your bloodlines, maybe something you're studying ancestrally. Could even be connecting with an ancestral guide. It's possible that's teaching you something here, but beautiful energy. Okay, and finally, Sagittarius coming in 1/35/29. All right, well, it looks like you need to call on a little help, Sagittarius. We got green Tara coming on through. You need to start delegating. Something does need to be moved into an active phase. There's been enough sort of weighing it out, considering it from all angles. Something does need to be resolved. In fact, for you, a lot of what is causing this sort of embattled feeling may be the direct result of not taking action. Sometimes the best thing to get out of that place of feeling at odds is to actually set something in motion. And I feel like that's what's coming in for you here pretty strongly. So this is about asking others to help you. You may want to call on Green Tara too. She's known to help very swiftly. And she doesn't turn anyone away. She rescues you when you feel like you're overwhelmed or in over your head. So you might have a lot on your plate right now, and maybe you've been trying to tough it out. Maybe you're the one who holds it down for everybody. You're always the one who takes care of everything. Everybody looks to you to solve the problems, and you may be in a space where you need to ask for a helping hand, and there's nothing wrong with that. So ask others to help you instead of trying to do everything by yourself. I think that's really important right now. I feel like the help is there, the support's there. And if you want to work with Green Tara, her mantra is Om Tare Tutare Ture Svaha. Om Tare Tutare Ture Svaha. Om Tare Tutare Ture Svaha. 108 times, full mala, 40 days in a row. You'll find what's needed is provided. It really works. So that may be a little something you want to set in motion with this full moon for those of you that are open. I like this though. You see, by Ostara though, by the time we hit the spring equinox, the vernal equinox, you're going to see how everything is starting to come to fruition in your life. There wasn't anything to fear after all. A lot of bright new beginnings coming in for you. And see, this is talking about what you want to see come to fruition. And it's really saying now is the time. You have these like so many eggs in your basket, right? You have all of these cosmic eggs of creation, all of these things that can become treasures, but they require that you actually take some kind of action. You can't just think about them anymore. You're being asked to actually represent these things. And maybe you need to pull in other people to help you with what you're trying to bring into being here. Ted says yes. If that's the case, then be sure to ask for assistance. But this is the perfect time for you to start new projects, access new ideas, and give birth to new conditions. And if you do, by the time you hit the spring equinox, you'll already see a bit of that magic starting to weave its way through your world. All right, let's do a cover deck and see what we got. Ooh, Lakshmi, you have a bright future. There's obstacles being cleared from your path. There's bright new beginnings coming into view. There's something here that's about to make things a lot easier for you. So stop worrying, because everything's going to be just fine. Really beautiful. If you've been worried about your finances, whatever's been preventing you from feeling like you're getting progress in that arena is being cleared from your path. Success is up ahead. Just trust. There's also a lot of beautiful experiences that await you too. So if you've been feeling like you've been dealing with some rough stuff and things have become a little dull and lifeless, I feel like this is something that's just going to light you up and make you feel like there's hope yet. And what do we got on the other side here? But there's something you need to purify first, okay? There is something you need to clear away with Coven and purification here. I do feel on the other side of going through this transformation. I mean, you did come in with the Temperance energy. So I feel like there is something you're kind of like balancing out here. Once you tend to this, you'll find that you're in a much more peaceful space and things just start to come in for you that were blocked before. I do feel like there's something that's going to pour into you like a miraculous chalice here. It's going to like fill you to the brim to overflowing, and it's going to give you something to kind of fill the coffers that you've needed for a long time. It could even be some kind of healing you've needed for a long time. I also recommend embracing just kind of more simplicity in terms of your approach with things. This includes the cleansing of body, mind, and spirit, okay? Move away from complication. Maybe get back to more simple foods, foods that are close to the earth. Kind of pull away from processed foods a bit. And don't bite off more than you can chew, not literally, okay? But also figuratively, you know, allow yourself to kind of make small, simple changes. Start to clear away the old habits and embrace new, more supportive habits. So there might be something you're doing. You might be doing some kind of cleaning up of your diet, maybe even in relation to some kind of health issue. I also think you're like taking out the trash in terms of stuff you've just been thinking about for too long, worrying about for too long. There's something about really just letting it all go, cleansing it all away. And taking whatever action you can take, right? That came through. But where you don't have the ability to affect a change, and you are getting the signs that you just need to let it go, let it flow, trust that, okay? Because I actually feel like that's the transformation point for you. It's like once you let it go, the fulfillment comes. The answer you need arrives. There's some kind of peace, there's some kind of healing, there's some kind of purification that comes through here. And it's happening on all stratums of being, mind, body, spirit. So, whatever you release here, it births a bright future. Your obstacles are about to get cleared from your path. You may have been dealing with some stormy seas. I see that here, but do you see? Look how everything becomes calm and bright. You're almost on the other side. All right. Godspeed.